In 1881, Russian Emperor Alexander II was assassinated by the left wing group People's Will at St. Petersburg. Alexander II had been a reformer, hailed as the liberator for freeing Russia's serfs, but his son and successor, Alexander III, reasserted the autocratic rule in Russia, and due to his assault against the revolutionaries and reformers, his reign became known as the era of counter reforms. A law was passed which provided the governor generals with emergency powers, according to which all public meetings could be prohibited, suspicious people could be fined or even arrested or sent to exile. Military courts were set up to punish the offenders. Extraordinary state of emergency could also be declared. Censorship was imposed on press. Newspapers, periodicals that spread radical and liberal ideas were prohibited, and the publishers of such newspapers and writings were also suspended. Education also became victim of Alexander III's repressive policies. Church controlled parish schools were set up at elementary level. Secondary schooling became extremely expensive due to hike in tuition fees. Autonomy of university and student organization was abolished. Discriminatory policies were adopted by the Ministry of Education against women, Jews, and poor students. Russification of non Russian minorities had been a characteristic of the reign of Alexander III. In the Baltic region, Russification began in 1887. Russian language was used as a medium of instruction in schools and offices. Russian police and judicial system was introduced along with Orthodox Christianity. Poland was also renamed as Privysliansky Krai, that is, the land around Vistula. The parish schools of Armenian Church were closed, Georgian Church property was confiscated, and Orthodox Christianity dominated. Repressive policies against Ukrainians, Muslims, and other minority groups were adopted. Following the assassination of Alexander II, anti Semitic violence erupted. The government supported the bloody anti Jewish rights. Jews were excluded from legal professions, government offices. They were expelled from Russia and emigrated to other countries. For the supervision of peasants, land chief was appointed who possessed judicial and administrative powers. He could veto decision of village assembly, impose fine, and so on. The government tightened its control over the local government. A law was framed which provided the class segregated groups of nobles, non-peasants, and peasants to elect the Zemstovo assembly. All Zemstovo officials needed the approval of governor and were subject to jurisdiction of Ministry of Internal Affairs. Ministry of Justice grew stronger over the judges. Special courts were established for the trial of government officials. Justice of peace was abolished. The judges could not question the executive. However, some relief was granted to peasants. Poll tax was abolished, redemption payment was reduced, peasants' temporary obligation was also abolished. State Peasant Bank was founded to aid the peasant in purchasing land. Laws were passed which prohibited child labor under the age of 12 to work in industries. Certain regulations outlawed night work for women in textile mills and adopted rules to govern labor contracts, wages, and strikes. Thus, to conclude, Alexander III did adopt certain reforms, but his policy of repression and counter reforms made him an unpopular ruler. Thank you.